Welcome to the Stronger Marriage Podcast with Trey and Lee, and welcome to 2023.
We are glad to be back with you guys. Thanks for being patient while we took a month off for holidays and various things.
I've been trying to tell you that we need to get going on this.
Yeah.
No, we just got busy, and we're ready to get rolling on podcasts for 2023, and it will be fun. And we've got a lot of good things planned this year. We're honored that you listen, and we're thankful that some of you have reached out and said, "Where are y'all?" So as we adjust and move around a little bit and try to get our seating lined out, we'll get rolling on this in a minute. So a couple of things, highlights of we had a good Christmas. We had all our family in, had our grandkids, which we love when our grandkids come see us. And we have kicked off with a new book. New book is doing fantastic. If you've not heard about it, it is called The Daily Marriage Challenge. And we have got rave reviews, which we love.
Yeah, we're going through it together for the next couple of months, doing a little challenge a day and
it's been good for us.
Writing some notes in there to each other and highlighting some things. And so it's been
I noticed on one of the days, I think it was talking about not taking your spouse for granted. You wrote something really sweet about me on Facebook, and it made me feel good. And I thought, yeah, that's awesome. We're following, doing what we need to do.
That was kind of the challenge for the day. So yeah.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. So if you haven't checked out that book, it's available on Amazon. If you live someplace other than North America and you're going, when will we get this book? We're hoping maybe by the end of the month to have it available on Kindle, where you can download it digitally. Yes. It is better in paperback form because you can write in it, and we take notes and stuff, and we have a place for you to write notes, and you can't write on your Kindle.
Yeah, but if you've got it in that form, then get you a little notebook journal where you can jot down some notes and write down, what you want to focus on and that kind of stuff.
That's right. And you know what else we're doing in less than 2 weeks?
I do know. Yes, it's coming up quick. In about a week and a half, we are going to be on our second marriage cruise with Wayne and Tammy Roberts, who are also going to be speaking and doing some classes on healthy marriages, stronger marriages. So we are really looking forward to that. Yeah.
It's sold out, and we're excited about that.
I think, you had somebody reach out to you yesterday asking about, is it too late for us to go on this thing? And actually, yes, our travel agent had to just cut off, she had to have a cutoff time so she can get everything done on her end that needs to be done.
So we're glad we got a full crew going, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then we have one more thing, and we'll get rolling on this. We are going to be in Jasper, Alabama on the 2nd and 3rd of February. We're excited about that. It's going to be a big workshop. We've already got a lot, 130 folks signed up, I guess. It's going to be a big crowd. We're excited about it.
All right.
So what are we talking about today?
We are talking about marriage goals for this coming year. If you want to call it a New Year's resolution, if you want to call it picking a word for the year, a lot of people do that. I don't know if you've seen that floating around on social media where people, pick their word for the year. I actually picked one this year.
Your word? We've done this in the past. What's your word for the year? Can I ask
word. So I just have been kind of focusing on organization, and so that's kind of going to be my focus. And I thought, well, what can my word be? I don't want my word to just be like organized. That's pretty dull. So after some thought and some prayer, I picked the word transform, because not only do I want my closets and my drawers and all of those kinds of things to be transformed, I'm also reading through the Bible this year. I'm doing the Bible recap. Some of you know about that Bible reading plan that you can download the app. So I'm doing that, and I chose Romans 12:2 kind of as the verse. Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. Romans 12:2. So transform is the word there. Not only do I want to, like I said, organize, transform things physically to make things function better, I want to transform my mind and let God transform me in that way. So
I like that. I think that's good.
That's my word.
While you're transforming your closets and drawers, will you transform mine while you're at it?
You're gonna be like coming into the kitchen to get something and going, where did you move
Yes.
this?
Now, my wife is already pretty organized.
So
I'm
your
kinda
word might
curious
need to be
see-
patience, right?
That's it.
As you learn to find all of the things that I
new
move on you
stuff.
this year.
Okay.
Okay.
But when we're talking about marriage and we're talking about some goals, these are some goals that are just good generic goals.
Right. And I like the word goals better than a resolution maybe. But I think the beginning of the year is a great time to focus on, what is something that I can really focus on and make a goal to work on all throughout the year. And I think that's great when you apply it to your marriage. You think, there's so many things we need to work on. Well, we're going to give you a list of several, but really we just want you to focus on one. And whether you pick one as a couple for both of you to focus on, or whether you say, well, I need to work more on this one and maybe you need to work more on this one, and then we'll compare notes and whatever. So
Okay. I think that sounds good. For goals to be accomplished,
yes.
we have to be intentional.
Absolutely.
It's easy at this time of year just to go, I'm going to do better on this, and never really put out any effort, which means we'll have to be intentional at going, okay, so if I'm going to improve on this, how do I do
You
that?
have to make a plan.
Yeah,
You're
make
gonna
a plan.
You're going to have to make a
Have
plan.
you made a plan with your organization?
I have not gotten it onto paper, so I probably need to do that. But in my mind, there's a plan.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
But that's the beginning, right?
That's exactly
yes,
right.
I need
And
to.
so,
I need to
yeah.
be better about scheduling times that I can actually, like I'm going to do one drawer a week or whatever it is. So yeah.
Well, I am a fan of, I call them New Year's resolutions, New Year's goals. I think they do work because sometimes I think what you do is you need a fresh start at times. I remember vividly, now we're going to tell a little on our age, back in about 1995. For some people, you're going, whoa, that's a long time ago. I was a husband and a father whose weight had ballooned up to about 265 pounds, heaviest I'd ever been. And my doctor, in a really nice way, said, this ain't good. You need to fix some things and change some things. And I spent the first week of January praying, Lord, help me to make my goal this year to lose some weight, and started walking and then started running. And actually by about May, maybe June, I had lost close to 50, 60 pounds.
You did awesome.
Of working really hard, and I try still hard today to keep a bunch of that off. And so it can be done, but you've got to be intentional. I can't just go, I think I want to lose weight tomorrow and expect to wake up in the morning and have lost weight. It takes getting your booty in gear. And so as we talk about marriage, what's number one on the top of our list?
So number one is focus on God more. Focus on God more.
I love that.
Yes.
In fact, we've talked about a podcast possibly next week of
We have.
just this.
We've got a whole outline, and so we thought, well, we'll just move, from this one right on into that one. If you think, yes, that's the one for us as a couple, that's what we're going to do, that's our goal for this year, then you're going to want to tune into our next episode because we're going to give some details on that. Yeah. But just very quickly and very simply, to focus on God more, you need to be going to worship together. You need to be praying together. You need to find you a couple's devotional book, or simply open your Bibles and read your Bibles together.
That's good. Take turns reading a chapter or a paragraph.
Right.
It's easy to say God's number one in our life, but never do anything about that. Do some stuff. Read your Bible. Do a couple's devotional book. There's so many good ones out there. But do something to focus more on God. And as you've heard it said, you're listening right now, and I know you know this illustration. It's a little bit like a triangle with a husband and wife in the bottom corners of the triangle and God at the top of the triangle. And the closer that a husband and wife focuses on growing closer to God, as they go up that triangle, they just get closer to one another. That's
right.
just common sense that takes place. And we will be the first to tell you that when our relationship with God is kind of what it's supposed to be, and we're focusing really hard on Him and talking about God and talking about our faith and talking about things, that our relationship seems to click better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We've got a little couple at church that is doing as a family. They wanted to focus on God more as a family this year, and they're taking a verse, maybe 2 or 3 verses, and a thought, and I don't know if they're doing this at the dinner table, but sometime in the evening they're sitting down together as a family. They're reading these verses, talking about this thought and what it means to each of them and where they can apply it. And I think that's fantastic.
I do too. They're reading their Bible daily together. Mm-hmm. They're using the Bible app. But they get a text and they look it over, and then when they sit down at supper that night, they talk about what they read today.
Yeah.
Just incredible.
Yeah. So they are choosing to focus on God more. And it can be something as simple as that. But that's number one. That might be what you think that you need to make your goal this year. Yeah. The second one is?
Build your friendship. As a husband and a wife.
That's a good one.
Because that's important. You fell in love because of friendship. You got married because of friendship. And then a lot of times we get busy doing life and jobs and hobbies and kids and kids stuff, football and basketball and baseball and gymnastics and soccer with kids. And before you know it, we just are raising kids together or doing life together. And that friendship, you gotta spend time together to have that friendship and build that friendship. And it requires, I think, that you date, which we'll talk about more, but you take some trips together. You build memories together. That's the thing about friendship, is memories.
Well, friends spend time together. They're, when you think about your closest friends, it's someone that you are in communication with on a regular basis. If you're not, you tend to drift apart. Now, we have friends that we may only see once every 2 or 3 years, and we can pick right up where we left off. But for the most part, your friends are people that you talk to regularly, and I think that's part of this is as friends, you got to be talking. You got to make time to talk with each other. You've got to do fun stuff together. That's what you do with friends. You hang out. You do fun stuff. So, have fun together.
Yeah.
So if that's what you want to focus on this year is your friendship, your, talking more, having more fun together, spending more time together, then there you go. Make a plan.
Make a plan. You've got to build the friendship. The better the friendship, the better the marriage. I believe that. Number 3, which ties into this, we talk about this a lot, but we're going to talk about it again today because there is so much misinformation and false information out there. You need to be dating more. Mm-hmm. And we get so much pushback from couples going, well, you obviously don't have kids. Well, you obviously have lots of money to pay babysitters. Well, you obviously have lots of time to go on dates. And you obviously have lots of money to go to concerts. And we're like, you obviously don't understand dating. It's called being intentional about spending time together. It's cooking a meal together after the kids go to bed. It's eating off the dollar menu because maybe you don't have a whole lot of money in the bank account right then. Or making a picnic lunch and going to the park. That's pretty much free. But we get so much pushback from couples that almost get mad because they go, well, you just have unlimited amount of resources. Stay-at-home dates work. If you've got kids and you can't find a sitter, put the kids down early for bed and play a board game. Don't just go plop in front of the television every single night. Right. Dating is healthy for your marriage.
It's all about that word that you brought up, intentionality. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to be intentional with carving out the time, because that's the main thing. We understand busyness. We know about that. There were plenty of years that our dates consisted of lunch dates. That was our time.
When the kids were in school.
When they were in school and they were busy, we made it, we went on lunch dates once or twice a week. Our jobs allowed us to do that. You may not have jobs that allow you to do that, so you're going to have to get more creative. But like Trey said, it's not about, big fancy events. Dates can be simple. They can be very simple. And we have done previous episodes that talk all about dating, and you can go back and look for those, listen to those, because we give you lots of ideas. But
people talk about, we don't trust anybody with our kids, and I get that. And maybe you're in a place where you don't know anybody yet. I understand that.
Yeah.
But man, one of the blessings of being a part of a church family is knowing, preteen and young girls in the youth group that we have said, hey, come watch our kids. And they said, we'd love to come play with your kids. And having another couple that's got kids the same age as our kids, and we'd tell them, hey, this weekend, we'll watch your kids. Y'all go out for a date. Go out overnight. We'll keep the kids. Next weekend, y'all watch our kids. The kids love it because they get to play together for 2 nights in a row or 2 weekends in a row. And it's just, there's so many options available for that out there if you're willing to just try, and just instead of saying, nah, it won't work for us.
Right. Yeah.
There are some options. I will tell you, there are some families out there that are in some tough situations that really put it difficult to date. And I remind you, just be patient. Sometimes those with multiple toddlers, new babies, if you got a new baby, take that new baby with you. If you have a special needs child or a special needs person living in your home, then yes, there are some families that have a great excuse for going, that's just not an option for us. Work around that. Figure out some stay-at-home dates. Figure out some times where, hey, we have an hour alone. What can we do together that we would enjoy having some fun doing? Let's go for a walk. Let's play a board game. Let's go get some ice cream. So there are some options.
Yes. So if that's what you want to focus on for this year, get after it. Do some more research. Make a plan. Make a plan there. So the next one, number 4. Maybe this year you need to focus on improving your sexual intimacy.
Woohoo! That could mean anything in a sense of, most of the time in most marriages, it's not about improving sex itself. It's not about,
although it might be.
It might be. It can be about, hey, let's try a new position. Let's try something somewhere, different part of the house.
Let's just educate ourselves better.
Exactly.
Let's
There's
read a book together.
Oh my goodness, that is so good for your marriage.
Yeah.
But for most couples, this is so fixable by saying, let's sit down and talk about frequency. Because the thing we hear from couples the most who are frustrated in this area is you have a higher sex drive spouse and a lower sex drive spouse. And yes, oftentimes it is a wife we hear from that goes, my husband's just not interested. And the higher sex drive spouse just feels like they're always begging because the lower sex drive spouse, maybe the frequency isn't. They're setting the tone for frequency, and that shouldn't be the case. It ought to be a mutual decision between both spouses. The low sex drive spouse says, hey, 3 times a month, and the high sex drive spouse says, hey, how about 5 times a month, and meet in the middle at 4 times a month. And so every couple and so many marriages could be improved by simply sitting down and talking about frequency.
Yes. And the key there is talk.
Yes.
On all of these things, really. Talking, working out a plan. That's got to be the first step. There is talking. Maybe you need to talk to your doctor about some things. Doctors can help in this area. They really can. There are doctors that specialize in hormone treatments that can help you balance your sex drives to where they match better. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. And again, we've mentioned before, if you've gone through menopause and maybe that desire is not what it needs to be or used to be, talk to a doctor. That is very treatable. Talk to your physician if you've got some problems with low testosterone or ED or any of those things. Those are things that can be treated that will not just improve your sex life, but your marriage.
Yes.
If your spouse is... Now, if you are both content with one time a year, man, wonderful. Enjoy it. Enjoy your marriage. There's no rules that say you've got to have sex a certain amount of times a year. But what's wrong or what's bad or what's tough is when you have one spouse that goes, I don't care if we have sex ever again, and another spouse going, I am dying over here because there is just no intimacy involved, and that's not healthy.
It's not. Okay, so if this is your focus, if this is your goal, we've done multiple episodes on this topic. You can go back and listen to. I'd strongly urge you to read a book together, and the one that we nearly always recommend is Sheet Music, Uncovering the Secrets of Sexual Intimacy by Dr. Kevin Leman. You cannot go wrong reading that together.
Intended for Pleasure is another one of those books that is excellent.
These are both written by Christian authors from a Christian standpoint.
Intended for Pleasure. I just went blank.
Ed Wheat. Dr. Ed Wheat.
Yes. And a little older book, but man, it's still fantastic. And it would be great.
Okay, next one.
Number 5, we're going to be better at praising and encouraging one another more. We're on the same team. We are one another's biggest cheerleaders. So we need to do a good job praising, saying thanks for little things, saying well done, cheering on your spouse at whatever it is they're doing.
Yeah. Now, and there's some of you that out there that are thinking, man, I'm good at that. I do that. Some of you are good at that. Trey is good at that. That's not anything that he probably needs to make a goal or focus on because he's got that down. Now, for me, that is something that at any given day I could say I need to do better at that. I need to focus on that more. So this may be one of those where you need to go, okay, I'm going to pick one and you pick one, and we'll work on those together. But yeah. And this may be something, you got to work out a plan. You got to wake up every morning and go, what am I thankful for today? You may need to start a gratitude journal.
Ooh, I like that.
If you're, if this is something that you really need to make a goal, that's one of the best ways, when you start focusing on what you're grateful for, what you're thankful for, and start your day in that mindset, I think it will help tremendously.
Yeah, if you have a hard time thinking of things like this or looking at it this way, stop and just think and ask yourself, what are the things I'd miss about my spouse if they were gone? And if you can't come up with some stuff, there's something off in there. Now, the opposite of this, when you're given more praise and more encouragement, means you're going to give less criticism.
Yes.
And you're going to watch your tone more often. And tone is a part of marriage that we all fight, including us. So be a person who is better at giving praise and encouragement than criticism and tone.
Yes, you're going to have to overlook some things, bite your tongue, hold some things in, and it's very doable.
Yes.
Very, very doable. Okay, so the next one is maybe you need to focus on being more open and honest with each other.
Yes, and if there is some issues with dishonesty in your marriage, then this really needs to be at the top of your list, because it's really hard to do marriage in a healthy marriage if there is not openness and honesty and just nakedness with one another, in not hiding stuff and no secrets. It is really, really hard on your marriage when there are secrets and stuff. So when you can learn to be open and honest about absolutely everything. We posted a post yesterday on Instagram that really touched a nerve with a lot of people, extremely popular, that says, do not keep secrets from your spouse. Do not hide friendships from your spouse, text messages from your spouse, anything. Openness and honesty in marriage is not optional. Being 100% truthful will bless your marriage, and that is exactly right. And so maybe you've done something, maybe you've at some point been dishonest and you've had to come clean. You make it your vow this year to prove to your spouse, I will not do that anymore. I will be open and I will be honest. Yeah.
And that post did strike a nerve, which tells us there are a lot of marriages that could probably use to make this their focus and their goal for the year. There were also several comments that, people that would say, well, some people just can't handle the truth. And my first response to that kind of comment was, if that's your comment to this, then obviously you don't have a very, you're doing some things that
Something, what are you hiding?
Yeah,
there's
something's a little off there if
Yeah.
that's your comment. My spouse can't handle the truth. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. Enough said there. But, and this could be even being, open and honest about small things. Maybe you struggle to stay within your budget, and you tend to overspend on shoes every once in a while, or on a new
Cell phone,
whatever. I mean,
something, gadget.
and it's like, well,
Don't hide purchases from
they'll,
yourself.
I've got to keep this a secret or whatever. Be honest about big things, about small things, about all the things. So if this is something you need to work on, do some research. Like I said, with everything else, you got to make a plan. We've done past episodes on openness and honesty. If there are any episodes you want to go back and listen to and you can't find them, you can reach out to us and we'll send you the link for these or whatever. So
Yeah, that's exactly right. Let's talk about this last one.
last one.
Oh, this is a
Ooh,
good one.
This is a good one for a lot of couples, and
It was
something
good for us.
Yes, something that a lot of couples could probably use to make this their focus for the year. Their goal for the year is to get out of debt.
Yes.
And maybe that's not your complete focus or goal, is to get completely out of debt, but maybe just better money management in general. We all need to be better at managing our money. So
Find a Dave Ramsey course, Financial Peace, get online. A church in your area will be offering it. It is a life changer. It changed our marriage. That was our book we read one year was Financial Peace. We learned how to get out of debt, and marriage is a lot more fun without a bunch of debt hanging over your head. And when I say debt, there's always some debt. Sometimes it may be a mortgage or something like that. But when you're sitting there going, I don't think we can pay all these bills this month, you've got some issues there, and you've got to learn how to get out of debt. And Dave Ramsey's really good at that.
yeah, you've got to spend less money than you're bringing in. That's just a given. But there's tons of good books out there that you can read on money management. Dave Ramsey just happens to be the one we used. It was excellent. We actually took the 12-week course. There's a course you can take. A lot of churches host these. You might do a search, a Google search for, is it called Financial Peace? 12-week. I mean, I don't know. There's a certain name
you
for
can
it.
put
but
in Financial Peace and put in your zip code. And
Yes.
Yeah.
So look for one of those classes. There may be one coming up, this year that you could take, and that is excellent. There's some accountability there. There are people that can help you work through some things. So, getting out of debt, money management will bless your marriage.
Number one reason for divorce in America is money issues. And that's really because that is like a wrecking ball that if you've got a few little cracks in your marriage with communication, with sex, with whatever it is, and that money issues causes stress that just blows all those open. So don't let spending more money than you make be something that messes your marriage up.
Yeah.
Those are 7 good ones.
Those are 7 good ones. Hopefully you will give this some thought. You'll talk about it together to figure out, is there one that we need to work on as a couple? Are there one that we each need to work on that might be different? But we're going to, ever so often we're going to ask you, how are you doing on your marriage goals for this year?
Or if you want, we would love nothing more. If you follow us on social media, reach out to us and say, here's my goal. Hold me accountable to this.
Yeah.
My goal for the year. We would love to hear from you what your marriage goal is for the year.
Yes. I love it. A lot to think about, a lot to talk about, and we will do another episode before we go on the cruise in a week and a half.
We'll have one.
So we will have another one that will drop in about 8 to 10 days.
Yep, sounds good. Y'all have a blessed week. Thank y'all for tuning in, and happy 2023 to you and your marriage.
Bye.